Hello and welcome to a special edition of the short Vort on Parshat Vayigash and Asarah Teves. This series is dedicated to the Lilui Nishmas of Mori, Naftali ben Yitzchak Isaac. I'm going to start off with a question from Rabbi Glatstein regarding Asarah Teves, and then I'm going to go to Vayigash and I'll share the last answer of Rabbi Glatstein at the end. So the question is regarding Asarah Teves, which comes out on a rare Friday, and we actually fast heading into Shabbos, and it won't happen for another 17 years. This is 5784 right now, and we have two different dates where there was the breach of Yerushalayim. That was Shivas Tammuz, and the Navi says that was on the 9th of Tammuz, but we commemorate on the 17th day of Tammuz. Why is that? And that's because the first date is the 9th was on the first Beis Hamikdash, but we find that the second Beis Hamikdash, which was still suffering in Gullus, was more chamor. That was the stricter laws, and therefore we focus on the 17th of Tammuz. The question then is, why is Asarah Teves, which commemorates the surrounding of Yerushalayim in the first bias, why don't we use the date of the second bias? So one answer is because we actually either didn't know or got lost in all its sorrow. People forgot what the date was. Another answer is maybe because this was the very first step of all the Churbanos that started the Gullus with the first bias. So it was as the very first step, we commemorate the 10th of Teves on the first Bayis Rishon. Now for Parshat Vayigash, Rabbi Kerzner, who always gives excellent divrei Torah on TorahAnytime, he shares a thought from the Belzer Rebbe. He says that in Perak Mem Hey Pasuk Chav Gimel, that it says Mituv Mitzrayim, that Yosef sent his father, according to Rashi, that it was Yayin Yashan. Why was Rashi sending Yaakov Avinu a wagon load full of old wine? What's the significance of it? Who made it? Was it even kosher wine? Was it made by a Jew? So the Belzer Rebbe explained, and Yosef hadn't made wine in about 22 years, because as soon as he separated from his brother, when he separated from his brothers after his sale, so then he hadn't tasted wine since. So the Belzer Rebbe explains that, though, in fact, 22 years ago, when he was sold, that's when Yosef himself made this cup of wine, this group of wine that he made. As soon as he started his journey to Egypt, he made the cup of wine. Why did Yosef do this? He did this because it was a difficult and challenging time in his life. He was young, he was alone going to the most immoral country in the world, and yet he has kept his emunah. And this wine symbolized his emunah. He knew that eventually this wine would be the kos shel Yeshua, the cup of salvation. And so now when he's reuniting with his brothers for the first time in 22 years, he wants to send a message to Yaakov. He wants to reassure Yaakov. And he's saying, here's my cup of wine that I made 22 years ago. And it's all because I always had emunah throughout. Don't worry. As soon as I was separated, I made this. Even despite the challenges in my life. And this is something that's a powerful message to us, no matter what our individual and collective challenges are that we face. Now, for a final answer, there's Rabbi Glatstein gave two, but there's one I particularly liked. He says that since the Jews had enough supplies for about 21 years at the time when they were surrounded in Bayis Sheini in Yerushalayim, they likely could have outweighted a Vespacian. Who's going to wait that long to achieve their goals, and therefore the start of the siege itself was not Asarah. However, as the Mori tells us, there were these bandits. They didn't want to listen to the Rabbanim, who wanted to give a peace proposal and make peace with their enemies and figure out a solution without war, but instead they caused the battle to happen because they burned down all the storehouses that would have lasted for those 21 years. And it created a famine, and the Jews had to fight out of desperation. And that's what caused the tzara, not the actual initial stage was not a threat. So again, no matter what the tzara that we face, we should face it with emunah, because Hashem will deliver us. Thank you for listening. Have a wonderful week and a wonderful Shabbos.